and welcome. Now, I realized recently that I have always done some type of savings challenge, and I realized this because 2021 is coming around the corner and I've been thinking about, well, what kind of challenge do I want to do? How do I want to set it up? What restrictions do I want to put in place? Do I want to continue my no buy, low buy, or do I want to do something different? And that got me thinking that, you know, I've done a no spend / low spend. I've done a cash clip system and cash envelope system and had different budgets associated with those two things. I've done a savings challenge in general where I just tried to save the maximum amount of money I could each month or each week and like put that aside. And 2020 has been the low buy / no buy. And yeah, that got me thinking like, okay, I'm always doing one of these. Why am I always doing one of these? Because often when you think about doing a challenge, you go, oh, I'll do it for a month, or I'll do it for a few weeks, or I'll do it for a couple of months or a year. But then you usually go back to normal and not tracking your money all the time. And I was like, well, why haven't I done this? Like, I do it when I go on vacation. I'm like, I'm on vacation, I've earned this, I'm gonna spend what I want, and I'm just gonna really enjoy myself. I'm not worried about tracking my spending. So I do it when I go on vacation, and I have done it where there's been crucial moments in my life where I've had to support someone else and I just haven't had the capacity to worry about money because I'm just having to spend what needs to be spent in that time. But in general, I've never really gone back to just normal spending. I don't know how to say it without some kind of challenge or tracking or budgeting system involved. So I was wondering, why is that? Like, it doesn't make sense because you don't usually do it that way. And I think for me, I've realized that doing some kind of no buy or low buy where I'm putting restrictions on myself is actually healthy for me and is my balance. And it's quite funny because I guess a lot of people shy away from challenges like this, or like sometimes I'll get comments being like, oh, you know, like restricting yourself just seems like such a terrible thing and seems so difficult, like why would you restrict yourself? And I was sort of thinking, well, like, it's actually very healthy to put restrictions on yourself, and that I do it all the time, like in my day-to-day life, because if I didn't put restrictions on myself and say like, no, don't do that, I would be eating cake for dinner and ice cream for breakfast, and I would be like, you know, following every whim I wanted to, and I would probably say some things to people that maybe were a little bit too blatantly honest and a little bit too much, and maybe my life would be a lot more dramatic and I would like call my ex and do some silly things instead of like going, actually, what's healthy for you right now is to not do that. What's going to be healthy for other people is to not do that. What's like better for your body is to not eat cake every day. And so to survive as a human being, I have to put restrictions on myself because I can't follow those impulses all the time, because it's really gonna lead me to quite a dodgy, unhealthy, and dramatic place. So yeah, that's the kind of way I've been thinking about my finances, is that like, I put restrictions in place not because I'm trying to like be mean to myself, but actually I'm trying to be kind to myself and in a healthy way, and to find that balance that works for me. And that's why I think it is so important to do that with your money, because I think we all do it anyway with our money, because otherwise we'd probably buy even more frivolous things than we already do. But it is healthy, and I think that's why I've always continued to do some kind of challenge, is that I found that this is very healthy for myself. And another thing is that I also experience it to be very like strengthening and important for me to do a challenge. And I think there's two reasons behind that, and it's kind of the two hardest reasons of doing some kind of challenge. One is that when you are looking at being able to maximize how much you're able to save, and you're trying to put restrictions and adjustments in your budget, you have to kind of get into a battle / conversation with yourself. And like, you learn a lot about yourself when you're having to analyze the way that you spend money, and you're having to look at what are your triggers, what are your social triggers, what makes you act the way that you do. So I find it to be kind of like self-development. I don't want to like put that out there, but like, I don't know, it's out there now, decide what you will with it, but it is, you are having to work on yourself when you're doing some kind of challenge in this way. So I find that really quite interesting, and having to sort of look at yourself in the mirror and be like, hey, we're gonna do things differently. I wanna work on that behavior. I wanna change these things. And I find that the longer I've been doing these sort of challenges, the better I'm becoming at not just being really restrictive and tight and, you know, beating myself up and having that negative dialogue with myself. I've actually learned to do it from a place of positivity and a place of encouragement of like, actually, I want to better myself and this is how I want to do it. So I find that it's been really helpful in that way. And another way that I found it really helpful and really strengthening is when you do a challenge like this, you're having to go against the social grain. You're having to go up against a lot of things that are around you that say to do things differently, whether you're exposed to advertisement in the television or online or the billboards in the street or magazines. Like, it tells you to spend money and to spend money frivolously and to feel totally comfortable and happy to go into debt, to get the new upgrades, to get the new thing. And it's normalized and it's good and you're just like everyone else and it is great. So that's one thing. But then you're also having to individualize yourself from the behaviors that you see around you, whether it's family members or friends or like the different people that are in your social collective. You're having to look at and do things differently to them and not just go along with the flow. And I find that those two things and looking at those social constructs and looking at your own behavior is really helpful. I don't know, like I really enjoy doing it is what I'm trying to say. And yeah, like when I first started doing these challenges, I did do it from a place of restriction, like you can watch all my updates, like you can hear the way I talk about myself and the way I spend money, and it's slowly become better and better. I still have the tendency to be like, oh, like I spent too much money on eating out and things like this, which a lot of you have pulled me up for in the comments, which is awesome. Like you pull up that behavior because actually when you're doing a challenge like this, it is so important that you do it from a place of trying to better yourself in an encouraging way, not in a like bad you did the wrong thing. It's like, oh well, you didn't do the best there, you could do better, but why did that make you spend that money at that time? Why did you impulse buy that thing or whatever? And like looking at it from a place with that positivity. And yeah, I don't know, that's kind of the reasons why I've continued to do these challenges. Another thing for me is I've realized that when I was a kid, I didn't get stuff all the time. And I was very, very happy. And so there's something in that, isn't there? That like, you know, you might want something or crave something, go, yeah, I really want to get this thing. But then like you go, oh no, I'm not going to get it, it's fine. And like within a couple of hours, you've forgotten about it and you've moved on with your life. And I remember that as a kid, like really wanting something in the store and then my mum just being like, no, you can't have it. And I was like, damn it. And then I would get over it and I'd get on with my life. And that I really loved getting presents at my birthday or having that treat very far and few between because it was special. And that's kind of the attitude I'm taking with myself now, is like I'm just being my own parent and I'm trying to like put those things in place to be like, hey, you're not gonna buy new clothes every month or every week or every couple of months. Like you're going to do it more every couple of months, not every single month, because when you do get that new thing, you're gonna want to enjoy it, and you can't enjoy it when you're constantly getting new stuff all the time. And obviously doing these savings challenges for me has also been paired with learning about minimalism and bringing that into my life, so they've become like a nice little combinized, that's not a word, combination in my life. So yeah, those are like two of the things that I've been thinking about to why I always do some kind of challenge. Now, another thing I did want to mention is that I have been very privileged and very fortunate to be able to save. Like I used to always save money before I even started doing these challenges, and I think it's important that yes, I spend below my means, and yes, I do work hard, but ultimately I've also been given allowances that a lot of people don't have access to, whether at the moment I'm staying at my childhood home, so I'm only having to pay a very small amount in rent. I've been gifted like flight tickets and things like this. I've been covered by people in my life when it comes to other expenses I might have to spend out for, whether it's been certain bills or it's been rent and accommodation. So yeah, I've been very privileged in that sense. And I've also been privileged in the sense that I have grown up with a mum who's taught me a lot about money and how to be good with money. And, you know, these things are all things I need to take into account when it comes to talking about these challenges. And it's really interesting as well for me because I started doing these challenges when I was a volunteer with a stipend check, and the maximum I would have been able to save for a year was something around $3,000, and I was able to save half of that, and I was very lucky like that was the excess I had because all the basics were covered. I then moved on to being a waitress in a restaurant, which is like, you know, it's a much better income than when you're a volunteer, but still it's not as much as what I'm making now. And now I am making a very hefty, it's not salary, what do I don't know, I'm making a pretty hefty wage, and it's very important that, yeah, I still, even though I've put in a lot of hard work myself, I've had lots of other things backing me up and buffering me along the way. And ultimately, I've always had the privilege and the fortune that if everything was to go bottoms up, I would still be able to come back to my family home. I'd still have my mum support me and bail me out. So I think it's just important to mention that because so little do I see people recognize that we have privileges and we have to recognize them, because if we don't recognize them, that's when they become a problem. And when we say that anyone can do what we can do, it's not a true picture unless you take into account the privileges that I've had access to in the process of that. So anyway, those are some of the things that I wanted to share with in regards to this challenge and why I've continued to do these kind of challenges. And yeah, I would recommend it for anyone because I think it kind of has become a healthy balance to say no to things and to, yeah, not allow myself to eat cake every day and to not allow myself to shop on Amazon every day. It's the same philosophy in which I approach those things as actually I want to be a more healthy person. So I'm going to make different choices and I'm not going to follow the impulse. And I'm also going to look at what society says as healthy and actually evaluate that for myself, because the normal Western healthy diet actually isn't healthy for me. And I have to make that assessment and feel what that feels like in my body. And it's the same way that I do that with the way that I spend money. And yeah, we say that a lot of food is healthy, and unfortunately it has a hell of a lot of sugar in it and it's not healthy. And it's the same with, you know, spending your money and going into debt. Like, yeah, that's normal, everyone does it, you know, just do what you need to do. But it's not healthy because once you're in debt, you're struggling and you've got all these mental health consequences that come along with it. Just like if you eat too much sugar, there's all these physical health consequences that come along with it. So we have to keep those things in mind. And yeah, I think that's partly why I've always done a challenge. So anyway, in saying all that, I will be doing some kind of challenge in 2021, and I would love for you to come along with me, not because you're trying to restrict yourself, but because you're trying to find a healthier balance that you want to live within, and you want to align up with your values that reflect the way that you want to be in life, and that you want to be healthy and you want to be happy, and you're going to do what you need to do, even if it's different to what is around you and what the social norm is and what the social collective is normalizing. You're going to do it differently because that's what is best for you, and that's what's healthy for you, and that's what encourages you to, yeah, live your life. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. I really enjoy my community of people on my No Buy Low Buy, and I would love for more people to share how they're going and what they think and all the things that I talked about. If you have any thoughts and ideas, please share with them. Please share with them. Please share them with me. All right, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!